So here's another interesting story from Silver Doctors. This came out a few days ago, like Friday, I think, and I, of course, sent it to myself so I could do a video this week. First Majestic Silver Mining Company CEO calls on fellow miners, other companies, to form OPEC-like cartel and halt physical silver sales in order to end the paper manipulation. He says, quote, "We all know the paper market has no representation to the physical market." Keith Neumeyer, CEO, First Majestic Silver Corp. Full must listen to interview below. 15-minute interview. I should be able to remember that by the time I get to work to at least post the link in case you want to hear that interview. It's 15 minutes long approximately. So as you probably just saw from the video before this, we had some kind of double suicide. One regulatory person and one top lawyer for Deutsche Bank, responsible for its regulatory operations, and the guy's last name is Gambino. That's one of the mafia last names. And I thought to myself, is it just a guy with the same last name, or is it really, the mafia? No idea. Of course, Bix Weir says, yeah, of course it is. Whether he is or isn't means nothing. Means absolutely nothing. What matters is he was their top lawyer, and in the regulatory area within that bank, Deutsche Bank. And now he's dead, along with a Security and Exchange Commission personnel, regulatory person. I don't remember what his title was. So you have the regulatory agency of Wall Street, the big banks, and a top lawyer from one of the most notorious riggers of things, of all things related to the market, Deutsche Bank. Also has many more times derivatives than JP Morgan does, and JP Morgan has massive amounts of derivatives. It's still so hard to understand how these derivatives came into existence and became something. They were made up, and all that a derivative is a bet on a bet of how some asset's going to do. It's kind of like a futures contract in the commodities in essence. Because with the futures contract, you're buying a piece of paper that says, hey, you're the proud owner of 5,000 ounces of silver. Except you only had to come up with 10% of the amount to play with that amount. And if you actually want to demand delivery and get the silver, you got to come up with the full other 90% of the money rather than just play the game with 10% of the money. Which is why there's only 2 to 3% maybe of the people who actually ever demand delivery. Why would you want to demand delivery and come up with 100% of something when you can play with that same 100% with only 10% of the money required? And if the price goes up, which is essentially what you would want anyways if you bought the real good, isn't it? Then you unload this piece of paper online and you make potentially thousands of dollars in one little transaction. Or if you're playing the mini futures contracts, you might make $100, $200 in a day easily, maybe even more, depending on the move of silver or gold for that matter. Right? So that's their tool, but it's not. They never created this for the average person to just play this game. It's a way to make money, day trading. No, it was always from day one a way for them to manipulate the price, because all prices, when you go to the coin store, you go to any coin store, as well as online and buying it from any of these places. Any major coin, JM Bullion, Gainesville Coins, whoever, AppMax. And you say, oh, I want to buy 10 Silver Eagles or 10 of these Buffalo coins, or whatever you're looking at. The price is live right there, and as you hit add to cart, I've got 10 coins, add to cart, here's the price. You look at the price, okay, great. Maybe you don't act on it. Yeah, I'll deal with this after lunch. I'll have lunch and then I'll go buy some of these coins or whatever. And then all of a sudden, you come back at lunch, the price is up 20 cents. Now all of a sudden 20 cents times 20 coins, you know, not that that's a whole heck of a lot of money, but the point being, what if you bought 200 coins at that time? Or you bought a monster box of 500? Well, 20 cents adds up. You know, there's a few $100 probably right there, you know, with 20 cents of 500. So, bottom line, they use these paper tools to manipulate the price. And the miners are saying, we know, and we're actually tired of it, using your little gauge on Wall Street, the COMEX, to set the price of something we're actually producing. We're producing it. Think about this. You actually produce something. You go out, you're digging in the ground, mountains, whatever, and you're finding this item. Gas money to do it, tractor equipment, massive machinery, personnel to pay, maintenance on stuff that breaks, you know, all of it. A place, you got to buy some place to call home, you know, a piece of property with a building that you call your, you know, central office or what have you. You got to have all these things, electricity, phone, you know, everything that goes with the business. And you don't get to sell your product for what you feel you need to sell it for. You don't set the price of your product. Somebody else is setting the price of your product with a piece of paper that isn't even your product. But it is a bet on the price or the performance of your product. So you would say, well, that's fine. If you want to create these pieces of paper, that bet, it's like kind of like a horse race, a bet on what price that our gold and silver is worth. Fine, bet it. But it shouldn't be also setting the price of those assets because you're betting on it. Yet, that's our world. This is the world we live in. Phil Collins. So what happens when people start understanding? The average person starts figuring out, okay, we've been wronged. It's not right. People have been screaming about this. I don't know if I believed it. Now I can tell it's real, definitely. And you happen to be the CEO of a mining company that mines silver. And you do an interview saying, I want to join and or create, form this OPEC-like cartel, and we just sit on all of our silver because they mine other stuff, right? So they'll keep that stuff going. Maybe they're doing iron and copper and aluminum or whatever whatever metals industry they're in completely when they're melting everything down and creating these metals. And they just decide, again, we understand they're being manipulated, so we'll just continue mining some of these other metals, which, once again, copper is also a commodity on the COMEX that's manipulated. However, when it comes to other metals, regular metals, you don't see the type of criminal manipulation as you do with gold and silver. You're not going to find, one of these other metals that was $49 an ounce and then all of a sudden gets smashed, and stays down below 20, like silver. Even gold is bouncing its way back up, to 1,300. It's not there yet, but it's making pretty big jumps periodically. It seems like in every few days. But anyways, the bottom line here is you can see this invisible fight kind of a thing, right? The good guys, the bad guys, whatever you want to call it. Got 2 more suicides. We've got problems. They're being exposed. And one of the regulators over in Europe says, if you thought LIBOR was bad, that international rate setting, which was humongous, you ain't seen nothing yet compared to the gold and silver manipulation. That was basically his words. Regulator says this. Or investigative regulator, whatever. So, one hand, man, why should I buy gold and silver? The prices are smashed. And even if it's rigged, They have the power to rig it, so who the hell am I? I'm this little guy, or girl. I can't do anything to make them change. So they've got the power. Why should I even get involved? Because all that has to happen for evil to go away is to shine light on it, so to speak, right? And believe me, we've been shining some light. You would not have these banker suicides that started off massively this year earlier, only to have a little quiet season, right? Got a little quiet season of banker suicides to get a double whammy over the weekend with two highly important people directly attached to one of the largest derivatives holders in the world, Deutsche Bank. Lindsey Williams said it a long time ago. You're going to start hearing the derivatives words. When you start to hear the derivatives and they start to crumble, that's when all hell is going to break loose in the financial world. That is when the collapse is going to happen. When you start to hear those derivatives crumbling. That's what he said a long time ago because of what his elite friend told him. And I will tell you one other thing he said then as well. I don't know if it's still going to apply. I think it will because he said it would. It's not really going to matter, honestly, but here it is. Here's what he said. It's going to happen in Europe first. Well, Deutsche Bank, as Big Swear's talking about, if it goes, all of Europe's pretty much done, he says. So that's interesting. But he said it's going to go in Europe first. And when it goes in Europe, that is basically your signal in the United States to say, we've got but mere weeks, and as in just a few weeks, he said, to get your stuff in order urgently. If you're in the market, if you're in it, you better get out so fast, it'll make your head spin. If you don't have your gold and silver, you better find a way to get it then immediately. And at the same time, who knows what the price will be at that particular point in time. So, the other possibility, and he didn't say this, but I'm thinking because of all these derivatives tied to everything, when they do blow up, is it going to cause a massive crash of prices of everything attached to derivatives? Which would include gold and silver, technically speaking. And to be honest, I don't know the answer to that. But I will absolutely not chance that. If I had no gold or silver or just a little bit and I wanted more and I thought to myself, well, let me see if I can play this game mentally myself and hope that when the derivatives crash, that precious metals crash with it, then I go out and buy some. That's too risky for me. And I love people who try to say something to you like, oh, gold and silver, it's one down. Oh, good idea to invest in that. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. The stock market, we're told, as you have a job and you work there and you have your career and year after year after year after year, every week, every month, right, your check is automatically taking a certain percentage out to put in your retirement 401k or whatever you may have. It's automatic. And if the market gets slammed like it did in 2008, don't take your money out. Just leave it, right? Markets go up and down. It's no problem. Just leave it. 2008, 2009, 2010, right, started recovering finally. Hit some all-time highs in 2014, just as Lindsey Williams said it would. For no reason, you're not going to have a reason, it's just going to go up. When you think it can't go up, there's no way it can go up, it shouldn't go up, it's going to go up more. You think that it can't do it again, it does it again. That's what he said would happen a while ago. And I'll be damned if that did not happen exactly as he said over the last 2 years especially. And especially this year. So I'm doing what he's saying. Get out of the paper assets, get into gold and silver. Don't care about the price, right? So the stock market's allowed to go up and down and no one cries about that. But if gold and silver's up and then it goes down, oh my God, it was the worst investment ever. Told you idiots not to do that. You're listening to these morons to tell you to buy it. All that the down is right now, the downside of the price, is a buying opportunity to buy more. Because when that price is let loose, again, you've got this guy wanting to form a cartel of OPEC-like status where we are not going to even give you and sell. We're going to hoard our silver. Because the COMEX can play their paper game all day long and set the price, and oh, there's too much, the price is going up too quick. Flood the market with this massive amounts of paper that HSBC or Deutsche Bank or our favorite JP Morgan has. Just flood the market. There's never enough buyers of the paper even who want to play the game, so that'll push the price down in itself. And as soon as we get to that level, HSBC, you start buying them all up. Okay. Oh, we're down to 1740. Yep. Okay, now you start buying them all up. Keep the price steady. Price is rising too much, up, buy some more, we'll flood the market a little bit more. But what happens when that 2 or 3% that are always demanding delivery of those paper contracts, they pay the full amount to get the goods, when they can't get it because the OPEC-like cartel of silver decided we're not going to produce silver for a while. We're going to produce it, but we're not going to sell it. We're going to let whatever inventories are out there get cleaned out because we want to see how you handle that via your paper exchange. We want to see how you can still set the price dirt cheap low for something we know is worth way more when there isn't any of it. Can't get it. See how that works out for you. That's this guy, the CEO of that company, saying that's what he wants to get together with these other mining companies to do this because they all know it and they're all sick of it. Once again, how many times do I have to bring something up in relation to silver and gold to show you? Massive manipulation has happened, and there's actually a plus to it. You've been able to get gold and silver cheap, and you don't know it. $1,300 gold's not cheap. I know. It'll make you sick knowing that when it was $200 and $300 back in the, like 2000, 2001, whatever, for gold, silver was freaking $3, $4, and then $5 early 2000s. That bothers the hell out of me. Why didn't I know these things then? I keep telling myself, damn it. I had to buy at 10, 12, 13, 15, 18, 20, 35, even in the low 40s. Old Jay Snip bought either 25 or 50 ounces, I don't remember now, at like $42. It doesn't hurt me at all. Because I always tell myself, even at $42, if I bought all my silver at $42, I still know what will happen to it when all this crap comes crashing down, and you can see we're slowly picking away at it. And it's only a matter of time when that manipulation stops. Again, once you shine light on it, you expose it. Doesn't mean it's going to happen the next day, the next month, the next year, the next 3, 4, 5 years. But as you can see, we are gaining ground in this long journey of precious metals manipulation. This is going to be the biggest story, the biggest manipulation event you've probably ever heard of in all of the world's history. And it's going down right now. And you have an opportunity to kind of be a part of it just by buying some silver or gold. Again, I prefer silver. Why? For the exact reason that I've always said. How could silver be at a certain number, like $21 when gold's at 1,300 plus, and all of a sudden now gold's back at 1,250, so just slightly off, a tiny fraction of a percent off of where it was. But $21 silver down to 17 plus silver is not a little fraction of a percent. That's several percent. So how could this relation of both precious metals that normally follow each other not follow each other exactly? That doesn't make sense. That means silver has been pushed harder down than gold. So when they finally rebound to where they need to go, silver will do leaps and bounds higher rather than gold just going higher. And believe me, as I've said a million times, if you have gold, you're going to be real happy with the performance of gold. If you have silver, you will be doing backflips, ecstatic that you had silver because of the performance. Another story, another day, and more news from old Jason Snip. Same stuff. It's just proving to you that all of these years of research and all these things that I find and study, and then I can just relay them quickly to you. You don't have to do anything. Just sit here and listen. Shows that I know what the hell I'm talking about. Yes, this is a drawn-out process. I haven't sold... When I moved to Tennessee for that little 6-month period where I thought I was going to stay up there, I had to sell a little bit of silver to come up with some funding for moving purposes and buying a little pickup truck after I sold my car down here. I had to. And then as soon as I was up there, I'm like, I'm going to get that silver back as fast as possible. So I started buying a little bit while I was up there. And then I decided again to come back down here. Made the trip back down. Got settled. Got my old job, the job I'm at now, back. And once again, man, I gotta get that silver. Gotta get my silver back up. I was able to get it back up to where my last, level was that I was happy with, my last little goal. And then all this time, hey, man, prices are low. Buy some more. Got a new goal. Boom. Met it. And as I say, a lot of times, I like to just, price is decent now, boom, buy a lump sum on a credit card. Comes in the mail, got it, safe, put it safe, everything's good. Okay, now we start making large payments to the credit card to pay it off in a few months. So, by next month, yes, I know it's a few days away, but sometime next month, my last purchase will be paid off in full. So, that's gone. No more debt, quote, so to speak. Not that it's a lot. Next month the payment's going to go out. It'll crush it. It'll be gone. And then my mind, of course, is telling me, that means January, February, March, tax time. How much will I be getting back? Not sure yet. But it should be decent. And guess where probably every penny of it's going to go? This little shiny metal called silver. Take care.